We're live.
Blues for you there. Rainer's sitting in on the time clock guitar and I'm on the upright bass here. We're doing this broadcast today. It's Cigar Box Nation TV. It is Friday, May something, 26th, 7th, somewhere in there. And want to show off a few of the projects I've been working on this week out in the shop. Ever since Shane left he went home last Thursday, I kind of got in a little building spree of getting out into the shop, got my workbench cleared off, and put a few things together. So the other day I showed you this guitar, the time clock guitar that we put together. There's a whole separate video on that, so I won't get into it too much. And just yesterday, you can scoot out of the way there so I can come front and center. Thank you. So I showed off this Washtub bass last week or the week before. Forget how long it was. And Farley, actually, she's standing in the wings. Come on in. Yesterday I decided this bass needed a stand. It was sitting on the floor. I was putting it on a crate. And I was like, it needs to be the right height and it needs to stand up on its own so it isn't always falling over. So I found an old elementary school chair. I don't know if it's in the shot or not.
It is.
But a little kid's chair from an elementary school. Took the back and the seat off of it, put an old piece of wood here, and basically attached the upright bass permanently to this chair. I only had one problem. I wanted to put a bolt up through the bottom brace. It's probably going to throw the autofocus off, but you see there's a bottom brace on there with a bolt coming out of it. But my hands wouldn't fit through the sound holes to get the bolt started. So Farley was good enough to help me with that, reached right in there, got the bolt started, and now this is a standalone upright bass. Not entirely as portable as one would like, but it doesn't need to be because it was built to be here on the Gitty Juke Shack stage.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And actually, one more thing about the bass here. I just a few minutes ago, UPS delivered my latest goodie, and that is a bow. And I've had about 2 minutes of practicing playing this thing with the bow before this video started, so I apologize in advance. Hopefully that low bass note is coming through okay. We forgot to plug in there's a little mic right there. We'll get the stereo mic plugged in. Maybe it'll pick the sound up a little better. But I can barely play the bass at all, so playing it with a bow is an extra challenge. So there you go. That's an upright bass with stainless steel cable strings being played with a horsehair bow, and I'm sure that stainless steel cable is going to quickly wear through the horsehair, but that's all right. It didn't cost a lot. So that's one thing that was in the works this week. Just hang that there and move it out of the way. So we got the guitar, the bass. The other thing I did, this was just a quick sort of project. We have a few of these wide flat boxes on the racks out there. This is I think it's a Hoya de Nicaragua, some kind of thing, but not a lot of use for this size or style of box. And I had some tambourine jingles sitting around here for years. We'd gotten some of those way back when Stan was here and we were working on cajones. So I said, you know what, I'm going to build a tambourine. And I have some pictures of the process. I want to write up a little how-to blog or article on it. Basically drilled some holes and filed out these wide flat slots and put finishing nails through to hold the jingles in place, and the result is very tambourine-ish in a clattery cigar box sort of way. So here we go. So there you go, Cigar Box Tambourine. There's a little refinement that could happen on this design, and we've got more of these boxes. I want to try to make one with a little bit bigger jingle so it'll have a deeper, richer sound, a little less clattery than these smaller ones. But just cut a 6-inch hole out of the center. I used a big hole saw. A lot of people don't have those, but you could just trace a saucer and use a jigsaw to cut that out and then sand it smooth, and you've got some real cigar box percussion. Now, on the topic of cigar box percussion this week, I've got another thing here. I'll pull it front and center. This is a cajon, a box drum. I think they're of Cuban origin. I used an old wooden crate that we found down in the basement of the mill building here. Just an old knocked together crate with nails and a hodgepodge of boards. It's got a little bit of stenciling on this end. I had to brace it up in there, put a back on it with a hole to let the sound out, and then we used 1/8-inch birch plywood for what's called the tapa. On a cajon it's called the tapa or the tapa, and it's what you're actually beating on. It kind of serves as a drum head. So the way you use a cajon, and I'm not a drummer, I'm not a percussionist, should actually try to holler for Dale, see if he's within earshot, because he can actually, might as well, see if he's in the lunchroom. You sit on it like so, make sure your pants aren't too tight, sit on it, tilt back a little bit, is how they generally do it, and then you beat it with your hands, using your fingertips or your palms. You hit more in the middle and you get a bassier thump coming up towards the top. You get more of like a tom-tom sound or even a little bit of bongo sound. Apparently we're Dale-less, so it's all up to me. And then these top corners I left unglued. The top's glued and screwed on. I left these unglued because that gives you a little bit of the snap. There it is, a cajon made from an old wooden crate. Not that much to it. Again, with this, I took photos of the process. It was my first time building a cajon from anything, so I'll be trying to write up a little article on how I did that as well. I know a lot of people out there have built cajons, and we certainly would love to see your photos of what you've built and what you've created. So send them in, post them, whatever you want to do. We'd love to see them. I believe that's all I've got this week of projects that I started or finished. I'm happy to be out in the shop doing a little more building. Things on the docket include I want to take an old roasting pan, the enameled speckled roasting pans, and put a skin over the top and try to make a banjo out of that with Dale's help. He's a drum maker and he knows all about stretching skins and that sort of thing to make a banjo out of a roasting pan. I want to do a gut bucket upright bass, and that would be using an actual plastic or metal bucket with the stick coming up out of it, and you either pull the stick back and forth to change the pitch, or you can put a lever. You anchor the stick in the bucket, put a lever at the top, and you change the tension of the string with that as you're plucking. So there's a lot more that I hope to be doing soon. We've got a long holiday weekend coming up. I want to say Happy Memorial Day to everyone. Hopefully most of you have a long weekend of some sort. Here at CB Gitty we're going to be closed Monday, and the post office isn't open anyway, so there might be a little delay in orders going out, but it shouldn't be more than one day, so I don't want anybody to panic about that. And hope you have a good holiday weekend and are enjoying these broadcasts. And I'll what did Rainer do with my guitar?
He brought it with him.
He took it with him. I was gonna I was gonna play us out, but the guitar's gone, so.
Got a question. Did you put anything inside the cajon, like little bells or wiles, which hit the front side?
I did not, but you certainly can. The guy, his name is Stan. He's worked here at CB Gitty before. He's going to actually be coming back again soon. He's my cajon guy. He, when we built some original prototypes here several years ago, he has an adjustable snare in there. You take the snare piece wires from an actual snare drum, and he's got it on a dowel that is controlled with a bass tuner on the side, and it actually can bring those snares up to the front and have it touching the tapa lightly, which gives you more of a loose sound, or you bring it in tighter and you get a nice tight snap. I've heard that the tambourine jingles can be put on there to give you a little bit of that sound. There's a lot you can do, and we hope to be doing more with cajons in the near future. Hopefully a cajon kit would be really cool. I don't know where I put my pick, but Nick has the guitar.
Hi guys.
Nick. I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day when I saw the hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, I follow close behind her, tried to hold out and be brave, but I could not hide my sorrow when they laid her in the grave. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Home, Lord, home was lonesome, miss my mother, she was gone. All my brothers, sisters crying, such a home so sad and lone. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. There you go. Not exactly Memorial Day themed, but close enough. One more thing. This painting behind me, we just received. UPS delivered that at the same time as the base bow. This is an original oil painting by Amzie Adams, the legend of the French Quarter in New Orleans. This is the Spirit House down there in New Orleans, and it's just an amazing, awesome thing to have here. And I think it fits perfectly with the theme of the Juke Shack. We're not necessarily going to keep it here. I want to get it framed up, but it's an amazing piece of art, and I'm very proud that Amzie entrusted us with it here. So thank you, Amzie, and thank you everyone for watching. Have a good weekend.